Hello, everyone. Delighted to say I'm joined by Patrick Bamford, Leeds United and England striker. Patrick, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, what's the vibe like at Leeds United so far this season, and how have things been going at Ellen Road?
To be fair, the atmosphere here is actually really good. It's been a little bit of a sticky start because we haven't managed to get that first win. But in terms of the atmosphere around the place, like the lads, no one's down in the dumps. Everyone kind of believes that win's going to come, and everyone's still working hard to achieve that. So I think that it's very positive at the minute.
Talking about everyone, who are your mates in the squad, Patrick? Who do you kind of hang around with? Jack Harris and a few of the other forward players. Do you get on really well with most players, or any close friends in particular?
Yeah, I'm really close with pretty much all of them, to be honest. Really close with Calvin. Leaf Davis, he's just gone on loan to Bournemouth. He was close with him as well. But there's a really tight-knit group, to be fair, in the change room that we're in. Obviously, the change rooms are split up a little bit because of COVID. We've got me, Stewie, Liam Cooper, Calvin, Luke Ayling, Tyler Roberts. So there's a good group of lads here, and everyone's pretty friendly.
I can imagine that's a very good part of the dressing room to be in. A lot of banter flying around there. You mentioned it there about maybe the slow start to the season. You've had some tough games, haven't you, against Liverpool and obviously Manchester United. Do you think that you'd ever really change the style of play under Marcelo Bielsa? It doesn't seem like that would be the case. And my question to you would be, do you think a team just kind of evolves organically over time and constantly adapts to figuring out your own style of players and other teams figuring your style out as well? It's kind of a game of cat and mouse, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe this year people are more. Well, we're not catching people by surprise as we did last year. I think that our playing style, we have our set way and the way we play. And I've no doubt that if there was 11 robots who could like carry out Marcelo's plan, they'd win every game. It's just obviously sometimes we are not bang on the money, but our playing style it's enjoyable. We love doing it, and as we saw last year, we've seen the last 3 years that it works. It's just one of them things that we really do need to be bang on form and hot on it, if you like, for us to be successful with it.
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned with Leeds in the Premier League over the last 12 months? And I was intrigued to see if you set yourself targets for goals and assists. I know strikers, some like to talk about it, some don't.
I don't really set myself targets as such. Our aim is to try and improve on what I did last year. But in terms of learning, what I've learned in the Premier League with Leeds, I think, is that in the Premier League you can't afford as a team to give the ball away cheaply, because you get punished or you spend a lot of time without the ball and a lot of time chasing it. So I think that's something that we've learned, and also consistency, which is pretty much the same in any league. Those who are consistent end up being successful, and that's something that, whilst it being the same as in any league, it's harder to get in the Premier League, but still you need it.
And I was wondering about your own career. I mean, you obviously spent a lot of time at Chelsea as a youngster, a lot of loan spells. I know you get asked about this a lot, but now it seems like a lot of youngsters at Chelsea are maybe moving on permanently earlier in their career, especially recently. What do you think about that? And what was the kind of main takeaway you had from your career journey so far, and specifically those younger years? Is there any advice you can give to those Chelsea youngsters?
I think that, look, loan moves help you. You learn a lot, even if the loan move didn't turn out positively. You sometimes learn a lot more from when you have a negative 6 month spell, even though you might feel it holds you back. There's definitely things that you take from it. At the end, it comes down to kind of personal preference, and people don't want to be going to different teams every 6 months or every year, moving house and stuff. So it does come to a point where you want to settle and be somewhere permanent. So I don't know whether that's part of the reason why players are moving permanently now. But yeah, I think that my advice would be to anyone, whether they're at Chelsea or wherever they are, is just keep working hard. Like eventually, if you keep working hard, like things will fall into line.
And obviously for you, your career has gone from strength to strength in recent years. Making your debut for England recently on your birthday. How was that for you, Patrick?
Yeah, it was nuts, to be honest, because it didn't feel like my birthday. First of all, like it was the strangest birthday I've ever had. Um,
No
and
cake at halftime?
no, no cake. And secondly, the day after the game, I couldn't remember a thing about it. So it was all a bit of a blur. Like I really enjoyed it the whole time I was away. I was just loving it. I loved the training, loved being around the group, just loved being part of it all. And it was one of them where I didn't really want to come back. I was enjoying it so much. So it was a good 2 weeks, and if anything, it just kind of made me more hungry to kind of make sure that I get back into that situation again.
Yeah, many people would say kind of it's very similar as a style of player to Harry Kane. Is that how you see it? And have you kind of looked ahead to the World Cup if England qualify and had dreams of scoring the winner in the final, say? Have you imagined yourself to think that far ahead?
I try not to think about that far ahead. Obviously, I spend more time focusing on the games coming up, but I'd be lying if I said it's not crossed my mind that that's what I want to do. Well, I think some people draw similarities with me and Harry, but there's probably things that I do that are different to him, and there's things that he does that are different to me, and there's definitely a lot of things that working with him and training with him that I can pick up and that will help make me a better player.
Of course, of course. And for our audience in the US, there's something interesting that popped up. I saw you do an interview many years ago about the offer to play in the men's soccer team at Harvard University and study business. I wonder if you could explain how that all came about, and do you have any aspirations perhaps to go to Harvard after your playing career and continue that in the business world?
Um, it came about because all my friends at sixth form were doing their UCAS applications, and I had to do one, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I said, well, I'd rather go to America and do a football scholarship and just study something alongside. And so I think my dad and it might have been my agent who helped, maybe the school, reached out, and I think it was either a university in California, or there might have been two, and Connecticut, and they kind of said that they were interested. And then once it kind of came out that they were interested, Harvard got in touch and said that they wanted me to go there. And yeah, it was strange because in the back of my mind, even though those offers were there, and I didn't really my dream was to play football and sign professional here, so it was really a backup, as daft as that sounds. And I don't think after I finish football, I don't think I'll have a chance to be honest, to go back over there and do that.
Okay, but maybe the option's always open to be a mature student one day. That would be pretty cool to see you on Harvard's campus, Patrick. When it comes to the USA, have you got any sort of favorite sports, favorite athletes, favorite cities you visited? Because I know at Leeds United in particular, there's a really strong ownership link with the San Francisco 49ers as well. So have you got
Yeah.
any interest in sort of American culture?
I've never been to San Francisco, but LA's my favourite place I've been to in America.
Nice.
And in terms of, was never really interested in American football until maybe the last 2-3 years, which kind of started taking an interest in it. Not like super keen, but I'll watch the Super Bowl, for instance. Big sport that I'm into is the NBA. I love watching that, and that started off by, I think I was in New York actually, when it must have been 2012 or something like that, 2012, 2013, with my friend, and Russell Westbrook, I can't remember, I think he was at Oklahoma at the time, was playing on the TV, and I just liked watching him, so I kind of got fascinated with him because he was good, and followed him for a bit, and then got more interested in the NBA, started playing it on PlayStation, watching the games when I could, when they're not too late, and yeah, just really loved the game, the tempo of it, the pace of it. It's exciting.
Why is LA your favorite city? Can you tell us that?
I just loved it. Like, it was. I went with 5 of my mates. I loved that. Like, it was strange. You could see there's famous people everywhere. Like, literally, I remember one day I was having breakfast, and 2 meters away, Mila Kunis was having breakfast there with some, I don't know if it was a meeting or something, and everyone just goes about their day like it's normal that there's just famous people everywhere, like these huge celebrities you see on TV. And I liked everything, like kind of the wow factor. I didn't realise how big it was, just the Beverly Hills around that area. And then for some reason I never realised that, you know, around Hollywood, I can't remember, is it Runyon Canyon? Is there a canyon? There's a canyon, like literally, in Beverly Hills or near there, that because it was in the off season, we used to go running up it for pre-season, me and my 4 mates, and the views and stuff. It just kind of stuck with me.
That's a great place to do pre-season.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Think you're properly prepared for life back in England with that kind of climate.
I actually remember Britt Sommerlonger was one of the lads who came with us, and during one of the runs we got to the top and he was sick at the top. So.
Brutal. Finally, Patrick, thanks so much for your time. I wanted to ask you, what do you get up to in your spare time? You got any other passions? Or I know seen some interviews where you have a lot of musical instruments that you can play, speak several languages. I mean, what do you get up to when you're not playing football?
I sometimes generally play music, like the guitar and stuff. If there might randomly a song pop into my head and I wanted to see if I can play it, or if I'm just like taking my mind off things and chilling out, spend time playing with the dog, walking the dog, and then I like playing Warzone on the PC. So I generally do that in the evening with my mates once they get back from work and stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate all of your answers. Best of luck for this season for Leeds and for England, and we'll see you very soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.